Oh, hello guys. Okay, so we're gonna do some practice problems today. Pardon me while I try to get my webcam all set up here so you can actually see the screen instead of looking at the ceiling. Is that working? Looks like it is. Just put it that way. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do a couple examples of Punnett squares. All different types. And then tomorrow you guys will be doing this on your own. So if you have any questions, you can refer back to this video. What the heck is going on here? Alright, so we're at the beginning here. So in humans, dark hair is going to be represented by a capital D as dominant over blonde hair, which is a lowercase d. If a heterozygous dark-haired man had a son with his blonde-haired wife, what would the probability be that the son would have dark hair like his father? There it goes. Alright, so we're doing heterozygous for dark hair. Wife is going to be blonde hair. This is an autosomal trait. We don't need to worry about the sex chromosomes. So I'll put dad up top. Since he's heterozygous, he is going to have one of each. And the mother is blonde. So she's going to be homozygous dominant. So the probability that the son would have dark hair, anytime you have a capital D, it's going to be dark hair. He would have a 50% chance of having dark hair like his dad, based off of the fact that I have 2 out of my 4 total that have a capital D. In roses, long stem is dominant over short stems. A homozygous long-stemmed plant is crossed with a homozygous short-stemmed plant. What percentage of the resultant rose plants will have long stems? So again, we're looking at a complete dominant cross. This is the most simple type of monohybrid cross you can have. I have a homozygous long-stemmed plant. So I'm going to use capital L's and lowercase l's. And a homozygous short-stemmed plant. Oversight on my part. That should have been a capital L. I've made it heterozygous in the beginning. So whenever you do your Punnett square, you're going to end up with all of them being heterozygous. Because this is a complete dominance trait, 100% are going to have long stems. Codominance. And I'll tell you if something's going to be codominance or incomplete dominance. Otherwise, just assume that it is the regular kind. If 2 erminite chickens were crossed, what is the probability that they would have a black chick or that they would have a white chick? Erminite chickens are ones that have both black and white fur in them. And a lot of times when you do codominance, you'll see 2 capital letters. A capital B would be for black, and you'll have a capital W, which would be for white. So we have 2 erminite chickens, so that means that their genotype is BW because they have both the black and the white feathers. So you cross 2 guys that are heterozygous. In order to have a black chick, you have to have two capital B's. So here's my black chick one. I only have one of those. And the probability that they would have a white chick, you have to have two W's. That would be this one down here, also 25%. 50% chance that they're going to have an erminite chick, one that looks just like them. Incomplete dominance. A pink flowered plant is crossed with a white flowered plant. What is the probability of producing a pink flowered plant? So if we have incomplete dominance, that means we had two traits and they blended together. So think about what colors would you blend in order to get pink? Now, one of the colors is white. Pink is going to be my intermediate. And in order to get pink, I would have to have red and white blending together. Let's see, what's the best letter to use here? I like to use letters that you can definitely tell if it's capital or lowercase. If you start using P's, everybody makes their P's different shape or different heights. W's is the same. So I'm just going to go with a regular one here and use an R. I can tell lowercase r's from capital R's. So white is generally going to be a recessive one. Punnett square here, I'm crossing a white plant with a pink plant. Probability that I'm going to get a pink plant is right here at 50%. Anytime you do probabilities, it's always going to be percents. Easiest way to mark those up. The other ones are going to be white plants. We're not going to have any red. Blood typing. Blood typing is codominant, and you have a lot of possibilities for blood types, but there's four main ones that'll show up. Your A, your B, your AB, and your O blood. So we'll do a lot of blood typing here probably next week. In class, we're going to actually do a blood typing lab with synthetic blood. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with remote yet. You guys might watch a video on how we did it. We'll see. The father has AB blood and the mother has type O blood. What percentage of their offspring would you expect to have type A, B, and O? So whenever you start with blood typing, one very important thing that you need to know is that A and B are codominant, meaning that they will be expressed equally. Type O blood takes the recessive form. So even though we have three alleles, O is actually a recessive. So if you have an AO, that's going to be type A blood. It's just heterozygous. So if I do my Punnett square, father is AB. Easy enough. Got an A here and a B. Mother is type O. The only way you can get O is if you have two O's. Otherwise, the A or the B would have been dominant. Now, sometimes whenever you do blood typing, you will see it expressed with the letter I. I prefer to do it this way because it's easier for me to see what's going on, but I know about the I. If you have type A blood, I was doing a Punnett square, you were actually doing it in genetics, or genetic counseling rather, not in genetics. I would use a capital I to represent that A is a dominant, and I would use another capital I for the B, and for the O, it would be lowercase i's. Not sure why they do it like that. To me, it just looks confusing and messy, and you have to remember what's what, but that is actually the way you would see it done. I'll do both of those squares for you so you can see what you're looking at in terms of correctness. So I'd have a capital I with the superscript of an A, lowercase I. Capital I, superscript of a B, lowercase I. Capital I, superscript A, lowercase I. Capital I, superscript B, When you're looking at it like that, it would, I guess, help you to understand which one's dominant versus which one's recessive. Personally, I just like seeing the AOBO. So type A blood, as long as the letter A is in there, you're going to have type A blood. So looking at both of my squares here, I have capital A's here, and I also have capital A's here. That's going to give me a 50% chance of having type A blood. Half of them do. Type B blood, I need a capital B, just one. So here's a capital B, here's a capital B, or if I do my other square, there's my capital B's, 50% chance again. Type AB blood, I don't have any squares that have an A and a B in it. That's a 0. And type O blood, I don't have any that have 2 O's or 2 lowercase i's. Gives me a 0 again. I really like doing questions like this. I think they are pretty interesting, just the scenarios that you can come up with. So in 1968, a couple accused a hospital of switching their baby with another. DNA fingerprinting did not exist at this time, so the hospital traced the blood types of the family in order to determine if a mistake was made. The mother had type A blood, the father had type AB blood, and the baby had type O blood. Use a Punnett square to defend your answer to the following question. Did the hospital make a mistake and switch the baby? In order to get type O blood, you have to have 2 O's. There's no way that that would have been possible because dad is AB. So right off the bat, I know that they did make a mistake. But in order to show that they made a mistake, you've got to do a Punnett square. So mom. We have 2 possibilities for what mom's genotype could have been in order to get A blood. She would have either had 2 capital A's and been homozygous, or she would have been heterozygous and had an A and an O. Now dad, he's AB. There's only one possibility for that, and that is an AB. So now if I do a Punnett square, I would have to do 2 squares to show because we don't know if mom is homo or heterozygous. So here's my first one with mom being homozygous. Obviously, you can see that there is no room for O in there. So that square would show she couldn't have been that. Not going to work. The next one. My dad in here. Maybe mom was heterozygous. So that would be AA, AO, AB, BO. I do have some O's popping up there, but remember O is going to be a recessive blood type. So in looking at this one, this would have been blood type A, this one would have been blood type B. So did the hospital make a mistake and switch the baby? Yes, they did. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? I think this is the last example I'm going to do. On a recent episode of CSI, multiple people came forward claiming to be the parents of the victim. For the first set of parents, the man has type AB blood, the woman has type O blood, and the victim has type B blood. Use the Punnett square in order to determine if these people could possibly be the parents of the victim. All right. Man, woman, instead of mom and dad, because we don't know if they're mom and dad or not. The man has type AB blood. All these men have AB. And the woman has type O blood. Victim is B. Okay, you have 2 possibilities there. They could have been BB or BO. Gotta do a Punnett square of my parents. My potential parents. I'll put AB at top. And it doesn't matter where you put mom and dad or man and woman. Just so long as you keep both of their alleles together, which you probably got harped on a lot whenever you were in biology, I wouldn't have put an A and an O up here and a B and an O because then I'm switching them. I'm mixing the mom and the dad or the woman and the man. You have to keep those two alleles together, either on top or on the side. So an A is going to slide down, B is going to slide down, O is going to go over. So looking at this, there's a 50% chance that they would have had a child who had BO blood. So could these be the parents of the victim? Yes, they absolutely could. In the chart below, circle the other possible options for the parents of the victim. Other possible options. So you have to have a kid who has type B blood. So you could go through and you could do Punnett squares for all these if you don't know. And it'll be easier for me to just show you that way. So my first parents here are Bob and Gina, and they are type O blood. Okay, so that's going to be all O's. Remember, O is your recessive blood type. Bob and Gina, no way they could have had a baby with type E blood. Ted and Susan. Type AB and type AB blood. Well, there is a 25% chance that Ted and Susan, you could be the parents. Look at Rob and Kelly and Trisha and James are both type A and B. So for type A, now it gets a little bit tricky here because remember, we don't know if they're heterozygous or homozygous, and we can't assume either one, so I'm going to have to do two squares anyhow. They could both be homozygous. And if that's the case, they could not be the parents because you'd end up with an AB baby. If one of the parents was heterozygous and the other parent was homozygous, have AB, BO. There I would get a potential B person. So with this blood type, they could potentially be it. So I'm going to go ahead and circle that yes, they could be it because it really depends on their blood type. If I continue on, let's see, she was last time, then back up. This time we'll make the B person heterozygous. B, AB, AO. In that scenario, they would not be the parents. One more potential scenario here, bear with me. What if they are both heterozygous? Oh my gosh, there's so many possibilities. This is the last one, AB. BO. AO. Uh-oh. So again, there is another 25% chance here that They could be it. So it very much depends on if they are homozygous or heterozygous. But at the end of the day, Robin, Kelly, and Trisha and James definitely could be the parents. So we got 3 options here, not including our original people. That's it for now. We're going to do more blood typing later on. Now tomorrow you guys are going to do just some monohybrid crosses on your own. If you're working remotely, I did put the paper in there, but you're not going to be able to write on it because I don't have boxes in. I'm like, anyhow, just get a regular piece of paper, make your boxes, and take a picture of it and send it in to me. Don't waste paper on printing it out, and don't waste ink on doing that. Just take pictures of your work and send it to me that way. Alrighty, guys. I'll see you later.